What is your favorite place on Brandeis campus?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I spent a lot of time in the pool as a member of the diving team. Probably not my favorite place, though. I spent a little too many hours in the chlorine there, I think.
It depends on time of the day. If it's 1 a.m. and I'm just coming from the library, it's the C-store. If it is any other day, I like the little hill that we have with the statue of Louis Brandeis. It's a pretty nice spot to be in and look over everyone, I guess. It makes you I don't know, it makes you feel cool.
The chapel is where I married my wife. We made everybody travel 200 miles from the New York area up to Brandeis. And at the Berlin Chapel, it was a good spot.
My friend Perry and I used to do this thing. We would take a car, we would be in this car, we would drive up to Sacker, which is sort of like, it used to be Sacker's International Relations, I think it's econ now or whatever, but we would go up there and it was so woodsy, you felt like you were sort of detached from the university a little bit. We would go up there, we would do this thing where we would drive the car back down and pretend we were on a roller coaster. We just, every single time, because there's like a little hill, woo! And then we'd drive back up. I mean, we were in college. This is us having fun.
Okay, I have a couple favorite places. One, I do love sitting and hanging out by the Louis statue, especially during midday when it's kind of in the midst of dusk and late afternoon. But then I also love just hanging out in Farber Library because I get a lot of studying done, but it's also kind of a social hangout. So I hang out with my friends out there. We're a little bit louder and rowdier than I think a library should be, but I would say those are my two favorite places on campus.
It's hard to pick one. I'm not good with favorites, but definitely Shapiro Campus Center. That was always the hub of activity for everything. If you weren't sure what people were doing, it was the place to run into somebody and see a familiar face, a familiar staff member, and just get involved.
I favor the athletics side of things. I really love Stein Diamond down there, where I've spent a lot of my time over the last 4 years, as well as the Gosman Athletics Center. I've spent a lot of hours there over the years. It's a gem. You can see it, the way that Brandeis is constructed, that the academics part is all the way up on the top of the hill, and all the athletics are down at the bottom. So I like being able to, pretty much no matter where I am on campus, being able to look out at the athletic facilities and see that shining pearl that is Stein Diamond.
Okay, this is probably not politically correct to say, but it was the Stein. So back in the day, that's when we used to meet and hang out in the Stein.
I would probably have to say Lower Farber in the library, just because I feel like that's a good mix of actually studying, actually doing homework with kind of laughing and having a good time with the friends.
I think my favorite place on campus was my dorm rooms when I lived in the castle. They were just really cool. Such a cool experience to live in a castle. I lived there my sophomore and senior year. My sophomore year, I had this big room at the top of the tower. You could see Boston. It was really cool.
I can also add right in front of Rab, just to the right of the steps of Rab, there is a great picture that I took with the woman I would later marry. And, we kind of went on I don't want to say it was a first date, but we just kind of hung out in front of Rab, and it's just a favorite spot. Whenever we go by or drive by or walk up those godforsaken steps, we know we have that little spot.